Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be doing my NFL recap for Week 13 and looking at my cash game lineup for Week 13. Definitely was a disappointing week. I got a lot of plays wrong, only put up 109 DraftKings points in cash. It was not a good week, like I said. Definitely a week to forget. Hit a lot of landmines, missed on a ton of plays. Just as you can see, looking at my lineup, Brett Hundley, Davante Adams, Stefon Diggs, Jared Cook, Seth Roberts. Just really disappointing performances from a lot of guys. Had 5 players put up less than 10 DraftKings points. I did hit on some good plays like KENYAN Drake. I guess Fournette was decent. DeAndre Hopkins was decent. Hit on the right defense, but definitely not a good week. We'll go through the lineup, talk about the plays, where I was right, where I was wrong. We'll also look at the Millionaire Maker, look at the lineup that won the Millionaire Maker, talk about their lineup if we were considering some of the players that they had, and just go through some of the top performances of the Week 13 slate. But looking at my lineup, starting at quarterback, I rolled with Brett Hundley this week. Obviously, that was a bad mistake on my part. Going into Saturday night, I usually start building my lineup. I had Josh McCown in Saturday night. I started tweaking my lineup Sunday morning, and I wound up taking McCown out. That really burned me. McCown put up like 34 DK points. Obviously, that's like a 26, 27-point swing if I don't take out McCown and put in Hundley. But I just felt like this was such a good spot for Hundley. It was really his first good matchup that he's really had all year. You just look at some of the matchups that Hundley's had this year. They've been pretty brutal against the Steelers, the Ravens, even the Bears, the Saints when they were healthy, when their defense was playing well. So this was really the first sort of cupcake matchup for Brett Hundley against Tampa Bay's really bad pass defense. And the dude just didn't do anything. He only had 84 passing yards. Really, the rushing yards are what kind of bailed me out. If he didn't rush the ball for 66 yards, he literally would have put up like 3 DraftKings points. So I kind of got bailed out by Hundley's rushing ability. He finished with 8.96. I don't feel bad about the play. I definitely feel bad about taking McCown out and putting him in, but I still thought Hundley was in a good spot. I know there were a lot of other pretty sharp players, really smart guys that played Hundley as well, so I don't feel bad about the play, but taking McCown out and putting in Hundley was definitely where I made my mistake. McCown's just been so consistent, just way more consistent than Hundley has. He wasn't that much more expensive, so definitely should have went with McCown at quarterback. But doing these recap videos, we see where we make our mistakes, so we don't do them again. One of the things I definitely need to stop doing is tweaking my lineup so much up to lock. I had a lot of good plays in Saturday night, and then Sunday morning I just started tweaking a bunch and really wound up screwing me. But yeah, Hundley was definitely a disappointing play. Next, we got KENYAN Drake. That was a play that I really liked. I originally had Jamal Williams in instead of Drake, but when we got the news that Aaron Jones was going to be active and was going to be playing and wound up putting in KENYAN Drake, that's sort of how I landed on Hundley, because I originally had McCown and Jamal Williams instead of Hundley and Drake. But with that news, I switched over to Drake. He played really well, had a really nice game, 26 DraftKings points, got a ton of touches, which is what I like to see. I believe at the end of halftime, Drake already had like 17 touches. Finished the game with 26 touches, 23 rushing attempts for 120 yards and a touchdown. Also got 3 catches for 21 yards, 26 DraftKings points, like I said. Just overall good game from KENYAN Drake. We knew he was going to get the workload with no Damian Williams. Denver's defense hasn't been as good as it's been in the past. I believe they were missing 2 D linemen on Sunday as well, so that was a big upgrade for Drake. I just really like the spot. He's involved in the passing game, which is obviously something we want in DraftKings full PPR scoring. So Drake was a good play. Definitely hit on a lot of the value running backs. There was 3 value running backs I was targeting. It was Jamal Williams, Drake, and Marshawn Lynch, and all 3 of those guys had really good games. I wound up going to Drake over the 3, and that worked out with his 26 burger. And then the next guy, Leonard Fournette. This was a stud play that I really wanted. Probably a mistake playing him like over somebody like Todd Gurley. I probably should have played Todd Gurley over Fournette. But Fournette didn't have that bad of a game. He still got 23 touches, which is really what I like to see. Anytime I pay for a guy, I just want them to get the touches and the targets. Fournette did get that. 20 rushing attempts for 57 yards and a touchdown. Also got 3 catches for 22 yards. 16.9 DraftKings points on Sunday against the Colts. Don't feel bad about going to this play. I like the spot for Fournette. I like the price tag. I didn't have any exposure to Jacksonville through their passing game, so I wanted to get some exposure. I knew they were going to put up points, so I went ahead and plugged in Fournette as one of the stud plays that I wanted. He didn't really disappoint, but definitely didn't have a monster game. But with how this week went, 16.9 DraftKings points, he'd probably take that this week, to be honest with you. So Fournette was a solid play. And then to wide receiver, my first wide receiver, Davante Adams, paired him with Brett Hundley because we know Adams is the guy that Hundley really targets the most. He didn't see that many targets on Sunday. Just the whole Packers passing game was just inefficient. They really didn't do much. Adams only got 6 targets and 4 catches for 42 yards, 8.2 DraftKings points. He was a lot more consistent before that game on Sunday. 12, 20, 23, 19 DraftKings points before that game. Obviously, when I decided to play him is when he's going to bust for 8 DraftKings points. But I just like the spot for Adams. Tampa Bay didn't have really any good corners. Their pass defense is really not good. I paired him with Hundley. Didn't really work out. Obviously, going to the Packers passing game didn't work out for really anybody this week. So Adams didn't absolutely kill me at 8 DraftKings points, but definitely not something I'm excited about. Then the next play was Stefon Diggs. This was a play that I sort of got on Sunday morning. With no Desmond Trufant, with him being ruled out, this was a good spot for Diggs. He still didn't do much. Really, Minnesota's whole passing game didn't do much. I know Keenum still had a solid game, but I believe Adam Thielen and Stefon Diggs, both of them just didn't do anything. Diggs only got 2 catches for 32 yards and 5 rushing yards. Had 5 targets, 5.7 DraftKings points. Obviously a very disappointing game from Stefon Diggs. I can't remember who I had in Diggs' spot on Saturday because he wasn't in my lineup Saturday. He was a play that I got on Sunday morning. I believe I had Robbie Anderson there, and I had McCown at quarterback. I had McCown and Anderson paired together. Obviously, that really burned me. Like, I had really good lineup Saturday night, and then when I did all that tweaking Sunday morning, it really hurt me, cost me a ton of points. Stefon Diggs and Davante Adams were 2 plays that both of these 2 plays were plays I got on Sunday morning, and both of them really disappointed. But you live and you learn. You move on to the next week. You don't make the same mistakes again. And then looking at my final wide receiver, DeAndre Hopkins, this was a play that I had locked in just all week. I like this spot for DeAndre Hopkins. I love the price tag at $7,300. The targets were still there for Hopkins. He got 14 targets, 8 catches for 80 yards. If you would have told me Hopkins was getting 14 targets at $7,300 against the Titans, I would have automatically plugged him in. So even though Hopkins didn't have a monster game, I still felt good about the play. He still didn't really disappoint at 16 DraftKings points. Like I said, you get 16 from somebody this week, you'd honestly take that in your cash games because so many guys busted. But DeAndre Hopkins was a guy that did sort of come through for me, had a solid game. He was a play that I had locked in all week. He was a guy that I knew I wanted in my lineups on Sunday. And then my next play, looking at tight end, Jared Cook. Obviously a very disappointing game from Jared Cook. Only had 1 catch for 9 yards and pretty much the best possible matchup for a tight end going up against the Giants. I think this was a pretty stupid play on my part, paying $5,400 for Jared Cook. And the guy just hasn't been doing anything. Just you look at his last 2 games before Sunday's game, 5 DraftKings points against New England, 1 DraftKings point against Denver. The targets have still kind of been there. He's seen 15 targets in his last 3 games, but the production hasn't been there. Definitely should have went down to Hunter Henry for $700 less. That was obviously a much better play. I didn't make that play. I was going to late swap after the 1 o'clock games were over. I had Cook and Seth Roberts. Those were the 2 guys that I had left in the 4 o'clock games. And I was going to take Cook out and replace him with Hunter Henry and then upgrade Seth Roberts and go to Josh Gordon. Obviously, if I would have done that, my lineup would have scored like 10, 15 more points. And I would have won this 3-man, which is pretty disappointing. I didn't make the switch. It definitely wound up costing me. Jared Cook was not a good play. Going to Oakland's passing game was just probably a stupid decision in my part. Definitely should have been on Lynch. Paying $5,400 for a guy who's put up 7 DraftKings points in his last 2 games before Sunday was definitely a mistake on my part. Even though the matchup was great, shouldn't have played Jared Cook at $5,400. So that's a big mistake that I made this week. You live and you learn. You move on to next week so you don't make the same mistakes again. And then the next play under Cook was Seth Roberts. This is a value play that I really like. Seth Roberts didn't really have that bad of a game. 9.6 DraftKings points. Had 5 catches for 46 yards. I knew that with Amari Cooper and Crabtree both out, guys like Seth Roberts, Cordell Patterson, Jared Cook, I knew these guys were going to get targets. Carr had to throw the ball to somebody. Roberts did see 6 targets, got 5 catches for 46 yards, 9.6 DraftKings points. And I know one of his 6th target that he didn't catch, it was a touchdown play. He caught the ball in the corner of the end zone. It looked like it was a touchdown when I watched the review, but they called it an incomplete pass, which was pretty disappointing. I think Roberts did get screwed out of a touchdown in my opinion. But it was called incomplete on the play, and I guess they didn't have enough evidence to overturn it. So Roberts only wound up finishing with 9.6 DraftKings points. It didn't kill me at $3,700, but Like I said, if I would have went up to Josh Gordon and then went down from Cook to Hunter Henry, that would have been a much smarter move that would have upgraded my lineup like 20 more points. But I stuck with Cook and Roberts. Definitely a mistake. They only got like 11 DraftKings points combined. The fact that I was almost able to win this 3-man with a 109 score just shows you how bad this week was. I actually probably should have won the 3-man, to be honest with you. If I would have pivoted off of Cook and Roberts, I would have won. Or if Cook and Roberts just would have done a little bit more. If Roberts would have, or if they would have called that touchdown catch, if they would have called it a touchdown, I would have won this 3-man. But didn't come out with the victory. Lost by 4 points to CJ James _23. Congrats to him. I know this video is a recap video, but one thing I do want to hit on, guys, is contest selection. If you play a lot of cash games, don't just play double ups and 50-50s, because in order to cash and double up in 50-50s, you have to have really a certain score. Like if you put up a 109 in double ups and 50-50s this week, you're on, or if you played all your volume in double ups and 50-50s and you put up a 109, you're probably not going to cash in any of them. But if you play some 3-mans and some head-to-heads with a bunch of different opponents, you can still win even with the bad score. Like I said, I almost won this 3-man. I only lost by 4 points, and I had a bad score of 109. So something I recommend if you play a lot of cash games, definitely mix in the type of contest you play. Obviously, you can play double ups and 50-50s, but don't just play all that. Play some 3-mans, play some head-to-heads with some different opponents. So that way, even if you have a bad score, if your opponents are just worse than you are, then you can still make some money back, even if you have a bad lineup. And that just shows in this 3-man, I had a 109 score and I almost was able to win. So make sure you're kind of mixing up your contest, mixing up what kind of contest you play. Sort of do a little bit of everything. If you play cash games, sort of mix in some head-to-heads with 50-50s, double ups, 3-mans. Just sort of do a little bit of everything. But yeah, looking at the final position in my lineup, my defense, I roll with the Ravens this week. I just really like the Ravens. If I wasn't going to pay up for the Jaguars or the Chargers, the Ravens were the defense that I wanted. 3,100, just really like the matchup at home against Detroit, against Matthew Stafford, who will turn the ball over, will take some sacks. The Ravens have a very good defense. They did get a pick 6. They got 3 sacks as well. Also got a fumble recovery and another interception. So did a lot of everything. They did give up 20 points, but they got the turnovers to make up for it. The Ravens defense, they get a lot of pressure on the quarterback. I believe they're leading the league in interceptions right now. So they're one of the best defenses in the NFL. I thought they were way too cheap at 3,100. Getting Stafford out of the dome, this was a good spot in my opinion for the Ravens, and they came through for me with 16 points. So definitely thought that was a good play. My lineup wound up finishing with 109.36. It was Brett Hundley, Kenyan Drake, Leonard Fournette, Davante Adams, Stephon Diggs, DeAndre Hopkins, Jared Cook, Seth Roberts, and the Ravens defense. Now let's go ahead and look at the Millionaire Maker. Look at the lineup that won the Millionaire Maker. It was won by Chess_is_OK. So Chess is OK. Took down the Millionaire Maker with a 241.14 score. Had Alex Smith, Kenyan Drake, Todd Gurley, Robbie Anderson, Tyreek Hill, Jermaine Kearse, Travis Kelce, Seth Roberts, and the Dolphins defense. Obviously, as you can see in this lineup, the KC Jets game, he stacked that game, and that really paid off for him. Alex Smith at 1.7% owned put up 40 DraftKings points. Robbie Anderson put up 22 DraftKings points in that game at 20% owned. Paired Smith with Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill was only 4% owned and put up 39 DraftKings points. Jermaine Kearse on the Jet side was 6% owned. He put up 27 DK points. Travis Kelce was only 7% owned, and he put up 25 DK points. So pretty much, if you stack that KC New York Jets game, you're probably swimming in money right now. I didn't have hardly any exposure to that game besides my lineup that I had Saturday night when I had McCown. I wasn't really considering any Chiefs in that game. The only 2 guys that I really liked from that game were McCown and Robbie Anderson, but I didn't wind up on any of them. This guy stacked up that game and won the $1 million. And a lot of those plays were low owned, but he did have sort of some chalky plays. Kenyan Drake was 11%, somewhat chalky. Todd Gurley was 20%. We always know Todd Gurley's going to have high ownership. Robbie Anderson was 20%. That was also another pretty chalky play. But other than that, as you can see, a lot of the chalk didn't hit this week. A lot of the low-owned plays really hit, like Smith, Tyreek Hill, Jermaine Kearse, Kelce, Dolphins defense. Just a lot of low-owned plays really went off. Whereas last week we had a bunch of chalk plays like Cooper Kupp, Julio Jones just absolutely erupt. Didn't have that this week. But anyways, congrats to this guy for winning the Millionaire Maker. Really nice lineup, really nice score. And yeah, guys, I think that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching my recap video. I do really appreciate it. As soon as this video goes up, probably 3 or 4 hours later after this video goes up, I'll be giving my first looks at the Week 14 slate. I'll be making a video on that, going through the Week 14 slate, looking at some guys I'm going to target, building a cash game lineup, look at some options that stand out to me. So make sure after you watch this recap video, you check out the first looks at the Week 14 slate if it's up. It should be uploaded a couple hours after this video goes up, so we'd definitely appreciate if you check that video out, give it a like. Also be sure you drop a like on this video, and make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. And if you have any questions or want to share some of your plays, share some of your lineups down in the comment section, feel free to do that. But yeah, guys, I think that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and peace, guys.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, she shaking fast. Yeah, she dropping slow. What? Yeah, neck on fro. Whoa, 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 whoa.